Whoa! Welcome to a special edition of Virtue's brand of wrestling with Virtue and Virtue's Rage. Now, I'm doing this initially for BigVito.com, the Big Vito brand, Virtue's brand of wrestling. Number 20, by the way. And then I will post it on WrestlingWithWrestling.com and NoDQ.com this week. And basically, I want to talk about the upcoming WWE all-female pay-per-view, their first one ever, might I add, Evolution. So this past weekend on NoDQ.com, we had a columnist post an article with his opinion. Aaron Rift allows to have articles from other fans, columnists, posted on the opinion section of NoDQ.com. And boy, oh boy, did this article generate some heat and some buzz. To paraphrase, to make a long story short, this gentleman basically said the Divas, specifically the Bella Twins, should be nowhere near the Evolution event. And his stance was that event should focus solely on the younger female talent. Like your Becky Lynch's, like your Sasha's and your Bayley's, etc. That's one guy's opinion. He has a right to have that opinion. I personally think all female talent that can still contribute to WWE, that has in the past, such as Lita, Trish Stratus, the Bella Twins, they should all be there for this. This is the initial event. So I personally believe that. And I'm on NoDQ.com. But what I really want to talk about is not necessarily that opinion. The fact that Carmella, that Paige, directly quoted that link to that article on NoDQ.com and said, this is awful. This Evolution is for all the women, past and present. So I'm sitting here thinking, why are these wrestlers, this talent, putting over something like this if they don't believe in it? The fact that they copied it and quoted it, and they have big followings. Now you're driving attention to NoDQ.com, which, when you're talking about wrestling and you have an opinion, that is perfectly fine. That's how you play the game on the internet. I even seen Disco Inferno quote the tweet, the comment, the link to the article, and he even said, this is the most atrocious thing I've ever read. And Disco is a guy that basically says, don't put fans over. Don't give them any attention. Just ignore them. Here's the problem. Again, people think because NoDQ allowed this on their opinions section that everybody on NoDQ thinks this, and that the Bella Twins, Trish, Lita should have nothing to do with Evolution. And that is absolute bullshit, because Aaron Rift and myself have already said, no, we want to see all of these female wrestlers and talent on this show. So it's your typical toxicity of the internet. And the fact that wrestlers they have to go out of their way to be so sensitive and make attention when if you really truly didn't believe in it, you just would have ignored it, right? But you're giving NoDQ, to a point, the credibility, which is fine by me, should be fine by Aaron Rift. You're giving it credibility because you're saying, hey, here's the article, go read it. go disagree with it is really what they're saying. Look, back in the old school days, do you think if King Kong Bundy or Fabulous Moolah were walking by a group of fans, and I have to say walking by a group of fans because there wasn't social media back then. There really wasn't the internet. And somebody called King Kong Bundy, hey, you fat lard ass. Or somebody said, hey, you old bag. Give it up. You guys suck. Do you think they would cry and try to push an agenda to say, to get everybody? No, they are going to be workers, wrestlers, and they're either going to ignore or they're going to turn around and shoot and put a promo on them in character and not get all sensitive. Again, I disagree with that person's point of view, and I think all the female talent, past and present, should be part of this show. But what I'm really, really getting at is wrestling, especially online in the online wrestling community, you have the right to state your opinions. And it's not like I don't remember anybody being called ugly and fat. And it's funny, one Dave Meltzer got heat when he called Peyton Royce, indirectly enhanced. That blew over, right? Oh, because it's Dave Meltzer and the business respects him. But No DQ's been around for 20 years, since 1998. And it's always had fans be part of its content, giving opinions. The moral of the story is if you do a podcast, if you write articles, you have the right to say whatever you want. And if this gentleman says, I personally don't think the Bellas should be part of this event, everybody can disagree with him. That's fine. And say you disagree, but to start putting this person on blast like he is some loser, man that's, first of all, if anything, he wants to see female wrestlers. He just wants to see the newer generation shine. And this is what I just don't understand. I can't believe wrestlers are getting so sensitive and interacting with columnists, fans, journalists, for those people that actually are journalists. It baffles my mind that they can't stay professional. And, if you're going to cut a promo as your character to further your gimmick, I'm fine with that. But the fact that you're trying to blow it up because you think that this, it's going to be taken down, or you're showing so if you, Carmella and Paige, if you think you're showing respect to the Bellas, if anything, you're bringing more attention to this when, if you don't like what this guy said, sweep it under the rug. So I guess the moral of my video here is, if we, like on BigVito.com and the Big Vito brand, I give my opinion. Noel, Vito, everybody else on the channel can say something else, disagree with me, and have their own opinion, right? That's the beauty of it. As long as you're not bashing somebody to the point of personal attacks. And I think saying the Bellas, as a fan, somebody saying the Bellas are talentless and shouldn't be part of the show, don't take that literal, performers. You know what I mean? Go out there and be part of the show, because you're going to be part of the show, as you should be, and deliver a great performance. Make that person eat crow. Don't bring that extra attention to it if you disagree with it. And I just am so sad for the wrestling business having professional wrestlers basically be trolls and online trolls themselves just to get their opinion over. Like, first of all, fans have the right to opinions. Performers can interact with the fans, but remember there used to be a thing called the fourth wall in kayfabe, which is completely gone, by the way. Thank you, internet, but we know that it's gone, right? But I couldn't see King Kong Bundy getting overly sensitive. Somebody called him a fat lard ass. I just couldn't see Moolah getting overly sensitive for somebody calling her an old bag. They would have dealt with it in a completely different way. And they would have probably, obviously, if they had social media back then, they're not going to retweet it, basically which with the link, so everybody that knows them could literally click on it and give it attention. No, they're going to ignore it, or they're going to cut a promo in character. That's what I miss about wrestling, right? I miss wrestlers being in gimmick 24/7. No selfies to get with their opponents or with people that they compete against in matches on the internet, sharing them. I mean, it's atrocious. And to think that I've seen Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman doing selfies in Italy, and I think back to the day when Brett and Owen wouldn't even travel together or be seen together in public when they had their feud in 1994. It's just absolutely insane. And this is the entertainment business. Entertainers, you should be critiqued, right? Do you think Jim Carrey gives a damn that people say you're not a serious actor? So because you're a comedian and you're a goofball and you're an overactor, when you did Man on the Moon, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Truman Show, etc., The Majestic, you did an awful job because you're Jim Carrey and you're a comedian. Your portrayal of Andy Kaufman was just too comedic. It wasn't right. Do you think Jim Carrey gives a shit about that? No, he knows he knows if it's good. If it sells, it's good. But if you have some people that just say they don't like things on the internet, they're not going to just all of a sudden respond and make this big war. I mean, like I said, old school professional entertainers handled themselves a different way. They handled themselves like superstars, and if they disagreed with a fan, they A, ignored the fan, B, cut a promo on that fan. Within their own bubble, privately in the locker room, they could say, hey, look at this stupid idiot writing this, that the Bellas shouldn't be, or Trish Stratus, etc., shouldn't be part of Evolution. What a fool. What an idiot. And then everybody in the locker room should say, yeah, it's stupid, but don't give it any attention. It'll get swept under the rug. And, let's not give NoDQ.com any credibility. I'm kind of jealous that I didn't write that article or something with that much buzz, but honestly, I would have never written that because I want to see the Bellas compete as well as all the female wrestlers at Evolution. And just the simple fact that now all of a sudden all of us over on NoDQ.com get the same heat, and supposedly we all share the same agenda. Nope, we don't want to see the Bellas at Evolution. That is just absolute BS, and I'm calling all the people out, the snowflakes that get bitter about that. Look, I contribute to BigVito.com, to NoDQ.com, to WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Those are my platforms. Twitter is my platform. Facebook is my platform. I have the right to say whatever I want. If Big Vito and Noel came to me one day and said, we don't like what you say, either change it or, it's been great working with you, but we're going to part ways, then that's where you come up with a mutual understanding. Same with this columnist and Aaron Rift. But why? Why, when we're watching a product, we give money by buying merchandise, going to WrestleMania, buying the WWE Network, that all feeds into these performers getting paid. We should say what we want, as long as we're not getting nasty and dirty. And I know that's the big problem out there. A lot of the trolls online do, right? That's where the online wrestling community gets toxic. And there are a lot of personal attacks. So, I can see performers seeing that stuff like you suck, you're ugly, you're fat, you're whatever it is. And then I can see them with an honest critique of, no, Bellas, you're more of the diva era. You shouldn't be part of this. Let's push the new women wrestlers. And again, it's one guy's opinion. And if it was brutally ugly and nasty, and he was just degrading them in just ridiculous ways, then I would be one of the first guys that would say, Aaron Rift, please remove this from your website. But I mean, come on, we talk about wrestling every day, especially during, pay-per-view days, Monday and Tuesday with Raw and SmackDown. There's so many websites out there that talk about wrestling, so many dirt sheets, opinion sites. I think there's going to be opinions out there that performers both like to hear and don't like to hear equally. The fact that they give the time of day to the ones they don't like to hear just baffles me. You know what I mean? That article wasn't meant to get your attention, wrestlers. and to make you think you're insulted. That article was for other fans out there that might have the same thought because they think that WWE holds on to their old stars too long, which is kind of true, and they don't develop their younger stars properly or trust them to carry the ball in the next generation. I mean, come on, even the guy, Brock Lesnar is now coming back, getting $1 million payday to do Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia with Braun and Roman. Undertaker versus Triple H at Super Showdown in Australia with Kane and Michaels in their respective corners. That's what WWE does. So I get that fans, like this individual that wrote this column on NoDQ.com, sees Bellas and people like that being part of this show, and they're thinking, oh, all the older divas that have already been around and had their WrestleMania main events and had their spotlight, they're going to come and steal it for the younger girls, this evolution. I get it. I understand why he's thinking that, because he probably wants to see younger stars, and he's like, all right, these other ones have had their opportunity. Again, I disagree with his point of view, because in the wrestling business, you should be able to do it for as long as you want or for as long as you get attention and help put butts in seats. And so I respect Vince McMahon's decisions to bring guys back like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Kane, Triple H, and let them be part of Super Showdown. Brock Lesnar, the Bellas coming back and being active, especially Brie after she had a kid. Trish Stratus and your Litas and your Beth Phoenixes. Again, the first Evolution event, I'm all for it. Maybe even if they do another all-female pay-per-view. Now, if they continue to do them, or if they end up going to monthlies, or however often they do female pay-per-views, and they continually bring the women that are more so retired or their main career's done, and they keep bringing them back, then I'm going to start saying, hey, this guy's argument holds merit a little bit, because it's taken away from Becky, Charlotte, Asuka, you name it. So it's one of those, this is one of those sensitive topics, because we're in 2018 and, women want more, equal rights, and it across the board, right? Race is still an issue. There's so many sensitive subjects out there. Once somebody does have an opinion and it does basically say, hey, I don't want to see two female athletes in the Bellas at this event, I understand that it comes across as cringeworthy, as atrocious, like Disco said. But it's just so funny that the wrestlers, past in the business and present, reacted so quickly to a fan's article. And maybe they thought this guy's, a journalist, but I mean, usually when you're a journalist with the right credentials, you are reporting in different ways and you're not just opinion-based. Or at least you're supposed to be. I laugh and say that lightly with the Dave Meltzer topic, but this was clearly opinion, and it came across more as from in the front row versus from behind the curtain type of opinion. And I just can't believe the wrestlers reacted in such a way. And maybe this is just their way of saying, no, Evolution is about how divas became women wrestlers, and we get more time, and we get our own events, and we get main events and Iron Women matches, and we compete in cage matches. Now, maybe this is all those wrestlers helping promote Evolution, because they're thinking, hey, this is an opportunity. This person clearly thinks that there is no evolution of women wrestling by saying the Bellas shouldn't be there. So therefore, let's put this over to get our agenda that this is what Evolution is about. It is about the past meeting the present, creating the future. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if there's 10 of us here, and I know Vince Russo had this problem too. He's got a lot of people in the brand. Vito's got a lot of fans for the Big Vito brand. And how can they control everybody's opinion? If somebody goes on Twitter and says, I'm in the Big Vito brand, and they say something nasty, that reflects on the Big Vito brand. And now everybody on the Big Vito brand and Vince Russo's the brand, we all think the same way because of what one person said that we have no control over. And this is where these people will say, well, the owner of the website could have pulled the article. But I mean, what was wrong with it? Was it sexist? I mean, he wants to see women compete. He just didn't want to see the Bellas. So he didn't like the Bella characters. And if anything, the Bellas should roll with that and take and use that heat to their advantage. And maybe that's what all of this was with Carmella and Paige, and even cryptic tweets from the Bellas putting the definition of evolution on their Twitter. To me, it looks like a bunch of workers perhaps were working the fans, the internet, to get Evolution's meaning over. And that's what I'd like to think what happened, right? And they're putting this columnist on blast to get their promotion, their agenda, their event over. And you know what? I'm okay with that. But part of me thinks they were all overly sensitive and that they did blow it out of proportion. So it's just one of those things. And I've talked about this time and time again. When you, with online wrestling community these days, which, believe it or not, is 95% plus of the wrestling fans that put money into the business. That's not going to change. People are going to say what they want to say. There's going to be troll pages on Facebook. People are going to get nasty, say these wrestlers don't deserve this and that. And if anything, these performers should take that and use that as motivation. And instead of, putting people on blast, keep it to yourselves. Keep it to the locker room. All get together and say, we're going to go out there and we're going to make these people regret their words. But it's their social media, and everybody's got to come across as a martyr and a savior. So I just thought that was very, very, very strange that one simple little article that basically stated he doesn't want to see the Bellas perform at Evolution because he wants to see the newer generation girls get more time, that the wrestlers in the business reacted to that. I mean, that is powerful, and it's everybody has the right to an opinion. And I was in arguments on Twitter, even though I said I want to see all these female talents perform at the show because I openly contribute on NoDQ.com. I was one of the guilty ones, according to X amount of people, because they assumed all of NoDQ.com supports that theory. And it's just ridiculous. Like, everybody on a team, so everybody that's on a sports team, one guy does something bad, like beats up his wife or rapes or shoots somebody. Outside of the confines of the team, now is that whole team, because he's on their team, is that whole team rapists or wife, spousal abusers or potential murderers? No. It's the internet, people. And I want to thank BigVito.com, the Big Vito brand. I want to thank Andre Corbeil and WrestlingWithWrestling.com. And I want to thank Aaron Rift and NoDQ.com for giving me this platform to come on and defend wrestlers when I see it necessary, to defend fans and other contributors when I see it necessary, and just try to bring everybody together so we can enjoy this form of entertainment instead of bickering online, on social media, making it toxic. And that's both from fans' perspective, from journalists' perspective, and from performers' perspective. There's so many clashing philosophies that creates the toxic environment. So that's what I wanted to talk about this week. If you have any questions and you want more specifics, please tweet me at NoDQ_virtue. You can also go to my Facebook page, NoDQ.com/virtue with a small V. And you know what? I am going to do a movie of the week. And since we're talking about wrestling, Mickey Rourke as the wrestler with Marissa Tomei. This is a fantastic, fantastic movie. If you have never seen it, please see it. This describes the wrestling business pretty accurately. Is it over glorified because it's a movie? Yeah. But once you're no longer in the spotlight and you start doing independent wrestling shows, you could kill yourself doing this, doing the business, doing the thing you love. You could, when you're not supposed to do it anymore, but you have the passion to do it, whether it's the money, whether it's the only thing you know how to do or whether it's the art of performing. Mickey Rourke did a fantastic job. Marissa Tomei, as always. And I just wanted to say, go and watch The Wrestler if you've never seen this movie. Fantastic. I know Noel and Vito probably would also put it over. Speaking of movies, be sure and catch The Church. Big Vito is going to be in this movie called The Church, and it's going to be in select theaters across the country coming up very soon. Hopefully you get it in a theater around you. If you don't, I'm sure at some point it will be on DVD, Blu-ray, digital, Redbox, Netflix, all that good stuff. But just make sure you check out The Church, and Big Vito will be in that movie. So Clint Howard is in that movie, and so isn't Bill Moseley, which I believe he's one of Rob Zombie's boys. Halloween season's coming up. It's going to be exciting. So that's all I wanted to talk about this week. I'm going to share this on all of my platforms. It's going to go up first on the Big Vito brand on bigvito.com. So once again, I am Virtue, and I thank you. We will see you next time. Hey, it's Virtue here from bigvito.com and the Big Vito brand. And I wanted to let everybody know, in case you already didn't, go to prowrestlingtees.com and search Big Vito, because you will see a spread of t-shirts that are must-owned. And you know what? Here is one as an example. So I hope Noel puts this on the end of some of my videos, because it really makes me look like a big deal that I'm doing commercials for Big Vito's t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com. But seriously, folks, you want to represent the Pavarotti of hard shots to the body? Seriously, no joke. You want to get color with the Big Vito and the Big Vito brand? Head on over to PWT. Everybody knows it as prowrestlingtees.com, and search Big Vito, and you will be able to choose your size. And you know what? I believe once in a while they run promotions and sales, so you always want to look out for that. But anyway, I am Virtue from bigvito.com and the Big Vito brand. Thank you for listening to me.